when I was studying in law school, when I ran out of First Amendment classes, I decided to study censorship during the Tudor dynasty because that's where we get our ideas of prior restraint that come from the licensing of the printing press, which was something that Henry VIII was the first to do, where basically the idea was that if you can't print anything in England unless it's with these Your Majesty approved printers, it will prevent heretical work and anti-Henry VIII stuff from coming out. Pretty efficient idea, if nothing else. And so he started getting angry at the printing press around 1521, and then passed something that required prints to be along with Parliament in 1538. And I always think of that as kind of like where we are now. Because back then we had the original disruptive technology. Writing was probably that, but the next one, which was the printing press, which was absolutely calamitous. And I mean, and I say calamitous on purpose because in the short term, the witch hunts went up like crazy because the printing press allowed you to get that manual on how to find witches. That the religious wars went crazy. It led to all sorts of distress, misinformation, nastiness. And Henry VIII was trying to put the genie back in the bottle. He was kind of like, I want to use this for good, like I feel like it could be used. But he was in an unavoidable period of epistemic anarchy. There's nothing you can do to make the period after the printing press came out to be a non-disruptive, non-crazy period, other than like absolute totalitarianism and destroy all the print presses, which simply was not possible in Europe. So I feel like that's kind of like where we are now. That disruption came from adding, I think, several million people to the European conversation and then eventually the global conversation. But eventually it became the best tool for disconfirmation, for getting rid of falsity, for spotting bad ideas. And it's the long-term benefits of the printing press are incalculably great. And that's what gives me some optimism for where we are now with social media, because we are in that unavoidably anarchical period. And I do worry that there are attempts in states to pass things to try to put the genie back in the bottle. Like if we ban TikTok, or we say that nobody under 18 can be on the internet unless they have parental permission, we're going at something that no amount of sort of top down is going to be able to fix it. We have to culturally adapt to the fact of it in ways that make us wiser, that actually and allow it potentially to be that wonderful engine for disconfirmation that we're nowhere near yet, by the way. But think about it. Additional millions of eyes on problems, thanks to the printing press, helped create the scientific revolution, the Enlightenment, the discovery of ignorance. We now have added billions of eyes and voices to solving problems, and we're using them for cat videos and canceling.
But those are just the early days of the printing press.
Exactly.
It all starts with the cats and the canceling. Is there something about X, about Twitter, which is perhaps the most energetic source of cats and canceling?
It seems like the collective unconscious of the species. I mean, it's one of these things where the tendency to want to see patterns in history sometimes can limit the actual batshit crazy experience of what history actually is. Because yes, we have these nice comforting ideas that it's going to be like last time. We don't know. It hasn't happened yet. And I think how unusual Twitter is, because I think of it as like because people talk about writing and mass communications and as being expanding the size of our collective brain. Mm-hmm. But now we're kind of looking at our collective brain in real time, and it's filled, just like our own brains, with all sorts of like little crazy things that pop up and appear like virtual particles kind of all over the place of people, reacting in real time to things. There's never been anything even vaguely like it. And it can be, at its worst, awful to see. Mm-hmm. At its best, sometimes seeing people like just getting euphoric over something going on and cracking absolutely brilliant immediate jokes, at the same time, it can be it can't even be a joyful experience. I feel like, and I live in a neighborhood now on X where I mostly deal with people that I think are actually thoughtful, even if I disagree with them. And it's not such a bad experience. I occasionally run into those other sort of what I call neighborhoods on X, where it's just all canceling, all nastiness, and it's always kind of an unpleasant visit to those places. I'm not saying the whole thing needs to be like my experience, but I do think that the reason why people keep on coming back to it is it reveals raw aspects of humanity that sometimes we prefer to pretend don't exist.
Yeah, but also it's totally new, like you said.
Yeah.
And it's just the virality, the speed that news travels, that opinions travel, that the battle over ideas travels.
And the battle over information, too.
Yeah, of what is true and not. Lies travel, the old Mark Twain thing, pretty fast on the thing.
Yeah.
And then it changes your understanding of how to interpret information.
It can also stress you out to no end. I remember to get off it sometimes.
Yeah.
The stats are pretty bad on mental health with young people, and I'm definitely in the camp of people who think that social media is part of that. I understand, the debate, but I'm pretty persuaded that one of the things that hasn't been great for mental health, of people is just constantly being exposed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's possible to create social media that makes a huge amount of money, makes people happy. To me, like it's possible to align the incentives.
Yeah.
So in terms of making teenagers, making every stage of life, giving you long-term fulfillment and happiness with your physical existence outside of the social media and on social media, helping you grow as a human being. Helping challenge you just in the right amount and just the right amount of cat videos, whatever gives this full, rich human experience. I think it's just a machine learning problem. It's like it's not easy to create a feed. So the easiest feed you could do is like maximize engagement.
Yeah.
But that's just like a really dumb algorithm.
Yeah.
It's like for the algorithm to learn enough about you to understand what will make you truly happy as a human being, to grow long term. That's just a very difficult problem to solve.
You ever watch Fleabag? It's absolutely brilliant, British show, and it sets you up. One of the reasons why people love it so much is it sets you up that you're watching like a raunchy British Sex in the City, except the main character is the most promiscuous one. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, and you kind of roll your eyes a little bit at it, and it's kind of funny and it's kind of cute and kind of spicy. And then you realize that the person is actually kind of suffering and having a hard time. And it gets deeper and deeper as the show goes on. And she will do these incredible speeches about, tell me what to do. Like, I know there's experts out there. I know there's knowledge out there. I know there's an optimal way to live my life. So why can't someone just tell me what to do? And it's this wonderfully accurate, I think, aspect of human desire, that what if something could actually tell me the optimal way to go? Because I think there is a desire to give up some amount of your own freedom and discretion in order to be told to do the optimally right thing. But that path scares me to death.
Yeah, but see, the way you phrased it, it scares me too. So there's several things. One, you could be constantly distracted in a TikTok way by things that keep you engaged.
Yeah.
So removing that and giving you a bunch of options constantly and learning from long term what results in your actual long term happiness.
Mm-hmm.
So like which amounts of challenging ideas are good for you.
Mm-hmm.
That for somebody like me, well, exactly.
Just 4.
But there is a number like that for you, Greg. Like
that's a lot.
For me, that number is pretty high. I love debate. I love the feeling of like realizing, holy shit, I've been wrong.
Yes.
But and then I would love for the algorithm to know that about me and to help me, but always giving me options if I want to descend into cat videos and so on.
Well, the educational aspect of it, I do.
Yes, educational, yes.
Like the idea of kind of like both going the speed that you need to and running as fast as you can.
Yeah.
I
mean, there's that, the whole flow thing. I just feel YouTube recommendation, for better or worse, if used correctly, it feels like it does a pretty good job. Whenever I just refuse to click on stuff that's just dopamine based and click on only educational things, the recommendation it provides are really damn good. So I feel like it's a solvable problem, at least in the space of education, of challenging yourself, but also expanding your realm of knowledge and all this kind of stuff.
And I'm definitely more we're in an inescapably anarchical period, and it require big cultural adjustments. And there's no way that this isn't going to be a difficult transition.